Hendrik Goltzius, 1558 to 1617, initially apprenticed with his father, Jan Goltz, a glassmaker and painter. He later trained under engraver and publisher Dirk Volkerts. Goltzius followed his master to Haarlem, where he worked as an engraver. In 1582, he founded his own publishing house and produced his first engravings. The following year, he met painter and art writer Karel van Mander, with whom he established an art academy modeled after the Italian style, joined by painter Cornelis van Haarlem. Van Mander became his friend and biographer. According to Van Mander, at the age of 32, Goltzius fell into such deep melancholy that he almost never had a healthy day again. Van Mander described him as a genius and a difficult person, ambitious, sensitive, and perfectionistic. Goltzius' workshop was tasked with a major project from 1588 to 1590, illustrating Ovid's Metamorphoses. This resulted in 52 works, including the four shown here of Icarus, Phaeton, Tantalus, and Ixion in the form of roundels, so-called tandi. These four characters, through their presumptuous behavior, incurred the wrath of the gods and were cruelly punished. The mythological theme of the series is episodes of divine punishment for human arrogance. Icarus became overconfident in his flight towards the sun and fell to his death. Phaeton demanded to drive his father Saul's sun chariot, lost control, and fell to his death. These two protagonists act with youthful recklessness. They are depicted by Ovid both as sky climbers and fowlers. In contrast, the stories of Ixion and Tantalus describe older individuals who deceive the gods. Ixion harassed Hera while intoxicated and was bound to a fiery wheel in the sky, later cast into Tartarus. Tantalus tested the gods' omniscience by serving them his son Pelops as a meal. He was also cast into Tartarus. Icarus and Daedalus were imprisoned by King Minos in the labyrinth of the Minotaur in Crete. Daedalus designed the labyrinth and helped Theseus escape using a thread from Ariadne. To flee, Daedalus crafted wings from feathers and wax. He instructed Icarus not to fly too high or too low to avoid the sun's heat or the sea's dampness. Icarus, however, became overconfident, flew too high, and the sun melted his wings, causing him to fall into the sea and die. Interpretation. The moral of the story is the classic pride comes before a fall. Icarus' overconfident reach for the sun was punished by the gods with a fall and death. Icarus' overconfident reach for the sun was punished by the gods with a fall and death. The second picture shows Phaeton. Phaeton's story also deals with youthful recklessness and disregard for paternal advice. Phaeton, son of Clymene and Sol, the sun god, was taunted by Epaphus, who doubted his divine lineage. Advised by his mother, Phaeton sought proof of his father's identity. Sol, bound by an oath, granted Phaeton any wish. Phaeton chose to drive the sun chariot, despite Sol's warnings. Phaeton lost control, causing a catastrophic fire on Earth. Jupiter intervened with a thunderbolt, destroying the chariot and causing Phaeton to fall to his death in the river Eridanus. Interpretation. Phaeton's fall and death were divine punishment for his presumptuous wish to drive the sun chariot. Image description of Phaeton. We see Phaeton falling naked. Unlike Icarus, he is depicted from behind. His left arm and right leg point skyward, while his right arm and left leg point earthward. His body is muscular, with some anatomically exaggerated muscles. His right index finger points downward, the left upward. Curly hair indicates the wind. 4 horses, the sun chariot, and one of its wheels fall around him. The image includes burning buildings and a river with a single sailboat. The third picture shows Ixion, a king who committed the first murder of a relative, was initially forgiven by Zeus and made immortal. However, he abused Zeus' hospitality by harassing Hera while intoxicated. Zeus tricked him with a cloud resembling Hera, leading to the birth of Centaurus. Ixion was punished by being bound to a fiery wheel, eternally spinning in the sky, and later cast into Tartarus.
He is going to hell.
Interpretation. The abuse of divine hospitality is punished with eternal torment on the fiery wheel or banishment to the underworld. Image description of Ixion. Ixion, depicted naked with an athletic body, falls headfirst, his face expressing terror or pain. His left arm reaches skyward, the right points earthward. Flames and smoke surround his body. The scene includes rocks, water, and indistinct buildings. Text of the epigram. One who lusts for public favor and vainglory should heed Ixion, whom Jupiter tricked with a cloud. The fourth picture shows Tantalus, a powerful and immensely wealthy king, tested the gods' omniscience by serving them his son Pelops.
He is also going to hell.
He was punished by being cast into Tartarus, where he endured eternal thirst and hunger, standing in a pool of water that receded when he tried to drink, and under fruit trees that eluded his grasp. Interpretation. The story highlights the punishment for testing the gods' omniscience and the eternal torment that follows. Text of the epigram. Fortune's goods benefit the good and harm the bad. Tantalus, amid riches, suffers in want. Fall into Tartarus. Unlike Icarus and Phaeton, Ixion and Tantalus are not described as fellers by Ovid. Their fall into Tartarus, juxtaposing them with the young Icarus and Phaeton, was an aesthetic novelty without literary or iconographic precedents for Ixion and Tantalus. Their fall into Tartarus, akin to the Christian iconography of the fall of Lucifer, signifies punishment for rebellion against God. Lucifer, after attempting to become godlike, is cast out of heaven, a motif reflected in Goltzius depictions. The form of the epigrams. The Latin epigrams around the tonde can be read by rotating them, providing a narrative and didactic context, encouraging moderation and self-control. Why is the physicality exaggerated? The Harlem Artist Academy aimed to engage with Italian art theory, especially Michelangelo's dictum that Dutch artists struggled to depict convincing figures. Harlem artists from 1583 onwards focused on complex nudes with exaggerated musculature in diverse poses, striving to surpass both ancient and contemporary Italian works. Goltzius depictions of Tantalus and Ixion can be linked to Michelangelo's The Last Judgment in the Sistine Chapel, known to Harlem artists through Giorgio Gissi's engravings. The Harlem artists' ambition to surpass ancient and contemporary Italian works can be seen as overconfidence. Goltzius' exaggeratedly muscular figures in extreme poses, paired with epigrams advocating moderation, reflect this ambition.